be putting us live there.
Okay, they're tagged in a post.
Yep.
So let me get on that. John Adams is now live with Andy Ostrowski.
Hey there, Teresa. We'll give it the usual minute or two here to start up. That way we can have people join us.
Hey, there you are, man. Okay, I got you. And I don't know if anybody's on already, but it's me, and I'm here, and I'm fine. So let's just let John get organized and get going here.
I'm gonna pull in a few of our people here.
Yeah. Can they hear me okay? And can you hear me okay?
Can I get I can hear you fine. Can we get a comment check on the live stream here?
Brenda Deal joined, Barbara Long joined. Yeah, I don't see any comments yet, but there's people joining.
If someone could just let us know how the
Hi,
audio
Brenda
is.
and Barbara. What's that?
I said someone commented.
There's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, there's usually a nice 10-15 second delay. So if someone could just let us know how audio's working, and we'll get this started.
I do, John. Even through it all, man, I still sit here and I get some laughs out of it all. It's fun stuff.
All right, so it looks like we can hear you and everything's going good. So got about 8-9 people here.
I'll try to monitor comments the best I can, but we have a little bit of a delay, so we might catch up, and I'll just try to do summary things and just go from there. So let me just start real quick, just to let everybody know I'm home, I'm fine. I had an order by the court, the Louisiana County Court, saying there was no basis to hold me. It was an incredibly horrific experience, except in dealing with the staff people there. They are all very, very kind and decent and caring people, and they run a good show. I mean, it's just the whole system, that psychiatric or mental health treatment system needs a real overhaul. But, I'll get into that a little bit down the road. But just, one thing that I didn't report is, there actually was a physical injury. My left wrist on the top was bloodied and scabbed for a few days, and there's still a small scar, and it's still a little tender, and there was some swelling and bruising in the wrist when that happened shortly after the Facebook post went down, and or the laptop closed, the laptop which has been stolen, they put the cuffs on me, and the guy did it too hard, and it wasn't necessary. I was fully compliant in every way. I walked out under my own power. It was a yank. I don't think it was intentional. I don't intend to make a big issue out of it, but it existed, So there was actual, physical injury that people I know have represented and worked on cases, have filed, decent civil rights cases over. I'm not interested in talking about that, but that was just one thing that I didn't report, and from there, so. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm up and catching up to speed. I have tried to. I just want to address this family issue real quick. I do not want to talk about it at any length. I did send out a communication that was posted on Facebook and then removed. So I'm just going to leave it go at that. I don't intend to make an issue out of it. If it was removed, it was removed, and that's just the way the communication needs to be. But I did forward that to some people addressing the family issues and a very, very, very significant history, long-term history behind what has gone on with me and my family. And I'll just leave that be. I'm hoping for family love and healing. My parents are in their 80s. My siblings are wonderful human beings. I just want to kind of leave it at that for now. But there's going to have to maybe be some crossover if we have to talk about what went on, because there was that involvement in what precipitated me going in to begin with. So as long as everybody's on board with that, what do you got, John?
I guess my first question would have to be, and the pressing answer is, in your opinion, was this related to the lawsuits that you have filed and your work for judicial reform and transparency?
Well, there's no question it's all related in my mind, and supported by my record, and made by and expressed statements by me. It's all out there. I've put my name to everything.
Right.
So yes, yes. I don't care. That would get us down a whole path that I don't need to get down, and it's all out there, and we can get into that, or I'll get into that another time. I don't really need to talk about the litigation and all that, but yes, of course,
Right.
here's my deal. Here's how I've labeled myself. I am the first political dissident to survive a 906, which is three failed 302s within a matter of months of each other, and to come out completely unscathed except a meaningless little bump and bruise and cut on my wrist because some cuffs were put on too tight, even though it wasn't necessary at all. So I'm the first ever political dissident to survive a 906.
That's awesome. Now, when me and you had spoke there yesterday, you had said how the judge ruled in your favor in this case.
Yes.
Did that surprise you, or was that kind of what you were expecting?
Well, and I did do an interview with this. I actually did an American Free Press interview. I didn't really get into this in detail, but I talked to that honeybee who really came.
Right.
Gosh, and let me get to that point first before I even go on and talk anything about me. What you guys did out there was life-saving work. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I get a little choked up. Thinking about it, because I haven't really talked about it much. This aspect of it. I mean, I recognize and I've felt it. But here's the deal, John. Here's the deal. The plan was to put me away in a state institution and involuntarily have me placed on pharmaceutical medications to rob me of my humanity and basically murder me. Doctor in the facility checked some random box saying I'm seriously mentally ill and sat during a hearing and said he wanted me in there for 20 days and he wanted another psychiatrist brought in for a full evaluation, and that at the end of that he was going to move to have me involuntarily medicated. They would have put me in the Norristown Hospital, and nobody would have, if I can do that Facebook Live thing, nobody would have done anything. And I believe, I believe that the plan at the time was to go along with it. Because these guys, this hearing examiner in Luzerne County and the lawyer it was wrong what they were doing, and they were trying to railroad me, and they tried to assign me a public defender, which I rejected, and I asked them to get off the phone, and they were on board with this program, and it was just unbelievable, and I'll save the details of it. But what I did, and I didn't know all this social media stuff was going on, and it was really life-saving, but I started saying, look, I was figuring I was in there 20 days. And you give me 20 days where I don't have an order to take medication, they know how much work I can do, even from inside a freaking rubber room. And I would have loaded up that docket with everything that I had, and just said, this is what it's all about. And you people are trying to shut me up. And, and I made it clear, do I have appeal rights? Are we just a formal docket? Are we on an open docket? And no. I was just going to be filing a bunch of stuff. And I grilled the doctor. I mean, it was just pathetic. So I sat there then after the hearing. And honestly, John, I made a decision, as soon as I left the general hospital, I made a decision that I'm not going to contact anyone. And, totally turned it over into the hands of God and said, it's in your hands here. And and that was the approach. I mean, there were my two friends. I have a friend, Mel Ruth and Craig Rohrball. I'm sitting in the room. Mel's got some artwork of mine. These guys are my old high school buddies. They came in the Saturday after the hearing, and if it was anybody other than them, I would have rejected the visit because I rejected phone calls. I rejected any inquiries. I didn't sign. Well, I signed some sheets for people so they could get their credit for having a group, but I didn't sign anything acknowledging my admission. And those two guys came in on Saturday, and it just completely put me at ease. And I didn't know at the time that this social media stuff went on. So
it took off, Andy. I mean, I think within probably about 24 hours, there were 3 or 4 of your videos were circulating on YouTube, and each of them were probably at about 5,000. You had about 20,000 hits within the first 24 hours. You know, so it definitely took off.
Life saving because Don, I'll try to summarize. I know I get long-winded about some of this stuff, but after I laid on what I had to lay on about my appeal rights and what I was going to do through the docket, I didn't know all this was going on in the back end, and people were calling the district attorney's office or calling the attorney general, or calling all over the place, and people are talking about coming and finding me and breaking me out, and I think you people just back down the system on my behalf, man. It's beautiful. It's awesome because all the while I was just sitting in there thinking, because then after this hearing, I'm sitting in there over the weekend. My two buddies came in and just totally lifted my spirit. Then I sat there for a couple more days, and I was just thinking, well, I'm just waiting for this order now. Commit me. They weren't giving me any information, no order, and I'm just like, what? And they're bringing me medications and talking about injecting me. I'm like, inside, I kind of laugh at these people when they're doing it to me, and not to the staff and everything, but to the doctors when I'm in private with them. But there was one real decent doctor, Dr. Rao. And, he was very kind to me, but the other two, I don't want to get into that right now. So then Tuesday, I was there, and, I'm just sitting in the group, doing my thing, listening to everybody. And I love these people in these places. I mean, people need to, translate and transform some of the energy that gets behind, these people's so-called mental illnesses, and just allow them to live as human beings and express themselves. A lot of my dealings,
a lot of my dealings, with those in the mental health industry, I think many of them are almost like you, railroaded either by family or opposition or, petty drama, and someone goes for that 302. And I mean, how many of these people get thrown in there and medicated against their will, and they don't have the benefit, of their story going viral. So, I agree.
I certainly have lived every civil rights case and struggle that I have ever handled as a lawyer. And I've lived it in the past couple months, and I've lived it over the past, 10, 15 years or so. So I'm real sympathetic to all that. But, honestly, the people out there that just got on that, I mean, because, John, I've done this alone for so many years. I get, a couple of, 10, 12 likes on my website stuff and, some Facebook stuff. And I know what I've been talking about. I know what I've been doing. And I can't get out and self-promote. I don't want to really self-promote. I just want to keep getting the word out and word out and word out, and just hoping that one day it just strikes, and it struck. And it was life-saving. It was life-saving. And, I just can't tell everybody how touched I am. And, so that's where we're at. And Dave Gary, thank you. Matt Grove, thank you. I'll miss people, but, thank you all. Janet Phelan, thank you very much. She really came through for me, and I was surprised because, we've had a little contention over the year or so. So thank you, Janet and Bill Kiesling. I got your email, and I just don't want to respond right now. So go from there, John.
Well, I had a few questions I'd like to ask here.
Sure.
And you had mentioned, you put this all in the hands of God. I'd like to, I guess, address how your faith helped you out throughout this process.
It's everything, John. I mean, that's really 4 years ago when I, realized some things about my past and what had gone on with me, and it hit me like a lightning bolt. And I didn't talk much about it. I did talk to my family about it, and this is what a lot of the healing needs to be about, and that'll be handled separately. But at that moment, and even before then, and I have a record to show it. My faith has been everything to me for at least 12, 15 years. But going back, even though I don't talk about it, even though I don't get out and quote Bible verses and try to rebuke people, when I'm 30, 35 years old, I just felt the righteousness, and I always knew that the proudest thing that I was doing God's work. Don Bailey used to say that, well, God's working here, and that's just like lifting me up every time, and so that's it. That is it. That is everything. That is why we do. That's why I do everything I do, and why I take every breath I take. And with that is immense courage and power that people need to start to really understand for themselves. And that's this could get into the key of all knowledge. Because the key, I mean, honestly, let's face it, John. I'm playing the part. I'm playing the part, you know. I'm looking like it. I'm talking like it. I'm acting like Jesus tipping tables because the point is, this is the power within us all.
I agree.
And people can access this for themselves. And all this myth that's built up around it, and misdirection, and man-made religion, and division, and all that, is the concealing of what is right there for everybody. So, I just decided that I'm going to go for it. And it's everything. It's everything.
Amazing. I guess one of the things we were worried about on our end, one of your last public postings prior to going live.
Hey, my sister. Can I see a comment from my sister there, and Lynn, I love you. I do not want to let this devolve into any kind of discussion of our family issues. And what I'm seeing in your message right there is the exact pattern that I've been seeing, and I'm really kind of tired of. So if you want to, talk about the love that we have for each other and our parents and what we need to heal real quick here, I'm on board to talk about that, but none of the other stuff. So I don't lie. I have an absolute abundant record, sworn truths that needs to be read, understood, and addressed. So I'm done with Ostrowski unless I see something different.
Understood that. There's no need for any sort of name calling in here, Miss Lynn.
Just leave it go. Just completely ignore it.
Well, one of the biggest questions I guess we had going into this, and I'm trying to think of how to phrase this, with respect to your last question. How much of a role do you think that Scientology played in what happened with you there?
This is another thing that I put in the communication, and none of this. I'm getting attacked for things that I said in the past weeks. Right. People need to understand this has been going on for 6 months, and I am the only one who has attempted communication about it all, and there is an abundant record of it that spins off into many directions that people don't know a lot about, and even though a lot of people do know about it.
Well, I mean, those are internal family matters, and of course...
And it's not just family matters, John. I mean, there's a lot more to it all, right. And what was the question that I kind of spun off a little bit? What role did the Scientology? But the fact is, I don't really think it has a direct role, but it gets a little complicated. Here, I want to say this clearly. Jeff Ostrowski is a wonderful, kind, and decent human being. He is an awesome man. Everyone, and this is what I said in the communication that I sent out today. Everybody should be privileged to know one man like him in their life, and I have got to live that every day of my 52 years. I have nothing but love for him. There is a very complicated long-term story that relates to the Dr. Krzyzewski stuff and all the stuff that is out there for the world to see that blends into this and bleeds into this and goes back 15 years and more. And that, I addressed in this, and I forwarded you the email, John, with the attachment in it, and forwarded to Matt or Maureen or Howie Lawless or whoever to take a look at that and talk about it. So that's where I'm at. But so on the Scientology thing, I want that ended. Right. I don't think that my brother is like a programmed Scientologist. I believe that there are influence on life that you need to separate from a little more clearly. Right. And that's how I do things. But I don't want to talk about that. I love him dearly. I admire him immensely. He was my best man. He was my best man at my wedding and said some remarkable things about me. My family has sustained me at periods in my life when there was nobody else that I had. I've been sustained by family love alone. I owe them all an eternal debt of gratitude for that. And I don't want to defile it anymore. I apologize for how I did defile it with that Scientology post. But here's the thing. You people should have responded to me and reached out to me months ago. And that's where I'm going to end it.
I understand that. Given my situation, I can definitely understand that frustration with family.
Yeah.
So sometimes our work as activists and for judicial reform against the courts, to someone not involved, it can seem almost crazy. In my work, I've been wiretapped, I've been followed, I've had confidential informants thrown at me, my friends, my family, you know, and it sounds extremely paranoid until you take a very vocal, physical stand.
Well, yeah, and you know, John, I knew what was going on around me for a long time, and you know, I did try to communicate, and I let all these people know 4 years ago what was going on.
Right.
I made it all out because I realized what was happening, and I'll get into all that. And this is all in that writing I sent you. But you didn't hear me talking about this stuff. I kept this all quiet.
Yeah.
I did not even talk to my dearest friend, you know, colleague friend Don Bailey about this stuff. And I knew, you know, that there was much more significance to what I was dealing with in his situation than
Right.
was being seen. You know, not that I care or want credit for anything, but you know, and I just decided I need to be quiet, so I didn't talk to these people. And when it came this year and this stuff started blowing up, I needed to go off. I needed to go off, and I went off. And I unloaded stuff, and everybody had a chance to go on my website to read my emails for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, trying to educate people what was going on. But enough was enough, and all the circumstances came together. There was my disciplinary thing that coincided with a Pennsylvania Supreme Court published opinion, you know, basically saying that I'm practicing law without a license. There was the Barletta petition case that came down at the same time. All this pressure was coming on in every direction. I knew what was happening. Here's the thing. People need to understand. You know, this is the adage. The adage is it is much easier to fool people than it is to convince them that they have been fooled. You know, so at that point, you know, when I got down towards the end, you know, when I started unloading this stuff, you know, I got that kind of cognitive dissonance reaction to it all.
Right.
But the thing is, the people that orchestrate this, I can name names. I'll name names. I name names. They are, you know, they are very, 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 very sophisticated people, and they are 10 steps ahead of the people who are out there trying to raise their kids and pay a mortgage and, you know, and live a decent American family life. But the thing is, John, I've always been one step ahead of them. They got me on a couple little tricks along the way, and you know, but I've been one step ahead of them. I always knew what was going on. I saw it going on around me. I didn't talk about it. You know, when I was making posts and sending emails, you know, I understand that people don't get everything that I'm saying in there. But you know, it's a protection measure. So, and that's how I'm sitting here, John. Three times I have been hauled in by the wilkes-barre police to a hospital for medical evaluation, with psychiatrists the second time writing frantically in my chart and saying, you know, the next time I come in, they're going to put me in a state institution. And here I sit talking to you know, with a smile on my face and just dealing with it.
Amazing. I'm just really glad that out of all of this, you know, hopefully you have an even bigger platform, you know, for your message to get out.
Well, I do, you know, thanks to all you. I mean, it just rallied around. And John, I've known for years that I was talking about the right things, and I didn't, you know. And this is the other thing. Not only did I not talk about, you know, what was going on around my life and what's been orchestrated for years and years, but I didn't talk about all my plans. I kept it all, you know, and you know, it's not like a fully formed plan at the time, but you just kind of, you know, allow your instincts to guide you and things fill in. And I didn't let people know what I was going to do. And I just came on and like gangbusters. So I get it. You know, I get all the reactions to people being like, whoa, man, what's going on with Andy? Oh my gosh. But, you know, I knew what I was doing the whole time. And that's the honest truth. And let me just tell you one thing. And, you know, this is maybe a little pat on my back. I've disciplined myself for this. You know, I went through an enormous period of personal struggling that, as you will see if you get to look at that attachment, was really intentional psychological torture of me for years. And when I came out of it, I got myself in physical shape. I got myself in mental shape. I never touched the godforsaken pharmaceuticals. You know, I eat the right things. I take the right nutrition. I exercise. I run 40 miles a week. I sit and I study and I organize these things. And, you know, when I was in that hospital, under all these circumstances, they were coming in my room. They come, you know, first couple of days, and it's like an assault, but these are decent people. You know, I love them all, Dan and the whole Nikki and the whole crew and Karen there. And, But they were taking my blood pressure. It was perfect. I mean, it was better than perfect. And my pulse rate was like in the 50s. While I was sitting there, with these people 20 minutes later, trying to hand me pills and going into a doctor's office and having him talk about, commit me to an institution. So, this is, and this is what my family, just real quick on that. This is what you people, I don't know how you missed it. It was right in front of your face. I talked to you about it. You saw it. I lost like 60 pounds, and man, we talked about it, and so I'll just leave it at that for now. But anything else? Anybody have any questions or anything? I don't really see anything.
I had a few come in here.
Sure.
Someone was wondering who 302'd you. Do you know who was responsible for that?
Who was responsible for what?
The 302 that was filed against you.
Well, that gets to some of the family stuff, and I'm just going to come right out and say it. My theory is they engineered through the control and manipulation of the information that I was sending out over the past 6 months to create a frenzy in my family and others about me that was misplaced, and they know it was misplaced, and try to get my family to do their bidding. And that's the summary I'm going to leave it at for now. And when I say things, John, I say them.
Yeah, I mean, and this line of work, sir, I'm the same way. The only thing we really have are our actions and our word. So, and this line of activism.
John, here's the point, and I'm sorry to cut you off there. Here's the point. Truth is power. Truth is power. You can take your damn money. You take anything else. But unless you're operating on the truth, and you know in your heart that you're committed to the truth, and that's your position, that gives you everything, and it can't be beat. It can only be beat through these little skull and bones shenanigans, the people spying on you and trying to mess with you and throwing in institutions, etc. Right. But that's why you got to keep persisting. That's the bottom line.
Another question, I guess, that people had in regards to your live video was, how did the cops get into the house? Were they let in? Did they kick down the door?
Yeah, and that gets down a little past. They got a key. They got a key, from neighbors or people that get into much right now, and came through the back door. Right. Yeah, so that's how they got in, because I went in and I locked the back door. There was a point in the video where I disappeared for, about 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, right there at the beginning.
And looked out the front door. I did, I saw the cop climbing over my fence. I was like, oh my gosh,
Man, that's
it's just horrific. I mean, this is a horrific, deprivation of rights experience. And, you have the presence. Well, the fact is, I had the Facebook here. I was set up to do it because when I wasn't saying I'm going on Facebook Live to bait people or threaten people or expose people. I'm going on Facebook Live because all my written communications are working. Everything I do isn't working. People aren't paying attention to stuff. So I was just going to sit and be real rational and talk about, let's have some communication about some of these issues. I mean, John, I've been trying for months and months and months and months, and nobody responded to anything. Yeah. So that's what it boils down to.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the reason for, my stunt of turning fugitive here was I tried for months and months and months to get help, aid, and comfort, and couldn't find any, and I was railroaded myself there. So I can definitely empathize.
Yeah, your story, I mean, it's great to always have you up to Tweets Cafe. I think you came up once or twice maybe, and you were on a couple times. And, the stuff that you guys do out there, Harry Lawless, I won't get in, Matt, and, all you guys out in Center County. I mean, you're really, John, you're at the core of a lot of unresolved issues that are, continuing to defile justice in the state and harm people. And, the work that you've done out there to draw attention to these issues has just been absolutely amazing.
Well, thank you. We had another question here come in. Let's see. Your laptop. We've heard your laptop went missing. Do you believe that was a theft? Was that, do you think that the authorities perhaps maybe took it?
Well, Here's the thing. I know. I'm fairly certain what happened. You know what? I believe that it relates to the social media frenzy. And I'll just come out and say it. Why hold back anything now? Here's my theory. My theory is this: that they, the powers that be, in this scenario, were content to leave my Facebook page alone and just throw me in an institution and allow my Facebook page to, people to look at that and say, oh, this guy's crazy. They threw him in an institution for saying these things. So I'm saying some pretty aggressive things. But once they saw the social media frenzy and realized that, wait a second, man, because I didn't have followers and, posse and all that stuff, just a small little ragtag team, but, they started saying, wow, this guy's got 10,000 views, he's credible, and they're going to see he's credible, and it's catching fire. So they started shutting that down and realized that they got to cut off my communication altogether. Stuff was removed from my Facebook. I was banned from Facebook. And, so that's how that happened.
Your Facebook ban, I had a few people asking me about that. Is that a temporary ban? Are you expecting to be back in your account here shortly? What's Facebook telling you?
I think it said something, like I looked at it yesterday when I tried to like something even, and it doesn't let you even do that. And it said in one day in 22 hours, I forget, that might have been 4 o'clock or something yesterday afternoon, so sometime tomorrow afternoon. And I'm not going to, I'm done. I'm done with those, lengthy communications. Everything that comes from me, to every extent possible, is going to be as positive, it will be as positive as I can, towards healing and, getting everybody on the same page and back on track. Because the fact of the matter is, John, if it's far something here, and, we got to channel this energy, and it's energy grounded in love. You guys showed love out there, and, you got to stay with that.
Well, you always have an ally with us here, and like I said, as soon as we saw your video, man, our buddy Matt there, he was on it. He was like, we need to save this right now. And I mean, I'm sure like 2 or 3 people in our group all saved and downloaded it, and we got it up real quick. And lo and behold, your video was pulled about 24 hours.
Within
24 hours.
John, I had no clue, because here's the thing, I announced at like 2:30 or whatever that I was going on Facebook Live, and again, I don't do that to to put it in their face or to say, I'm coming to get you. I do that because I want people to see, I want people to hear and listen and say, okay, and within 10 minutes, they were climbing around my house, and so it was very clearly an attempt to pull me away from any communication. And those couple minutes, between 2:40 and 2:53 or whatever that they came in last Tuesday was critical stuff. And I sat here and did it on Facebook and just made a decision that if you guys are gonna do this on live camera.
Yeah.
And there's not any doubt, and I don't want to stink call from any media, but it's a hell of a story here.
Yeah.
And I did do an interview with the American Free Press yesterday, and I don't know when that will be posted. And I didn't get into the detail I'm getting into now because I wanted to keep it short. I was just still kind of unpacking a lot of it. So that's where we're at.
Another thing I kind of wanted to touch base on here. It looks like your account will be back sometime tomorrow afternoon, you had said. I'm wondering if maybe we could schedule another live video, either you or me, or you could go up on your page. That way, for anyone watching, you'll be able to address this within the realms of your network. We had a lot of people on my end following, and whenever I tag you over and whatnot, some of your people will see it, but the entirety of your network, it may take them a bit to get this video. So we had a few people wondering if you were making any plans to go live again.
Well, yeah, the thing is, I have a borrowed older laptop that doesn't have a camera, and, I'll have to work that out somehow, but that was my intention. John, it's another reason that they took my laptop. They got all my, you don't know how much stuff I have on there. That's my lifeblood, that's my connection to, my last connection to the world. Well, maybe that's why I don't have it right now.
Do you think it was taken as like evidence, or was it illegally stolen?
No, it was stolen to cut me off from communicating. That's the one and only reason.
That's a shame.
I don't do anything illegal. They can look at my hard drive, analyze it, do what you want with it. I don't do illegal stuff. I sit here and I try to promote justice and do the work and have a little bit of fun when I'm doing it. And let me say, a lot of these stuff, I get it. A lot of my communications are very deliberate to kind of slap people to wake them up to say things because social media. This is something I really want to get into. Social media has really destroyed human communication. The 140-character Twitters, the lack of sentence structure and punctuation and clarity in Facebook comments and posts, and no punctuations, anything. And but I'm a little bit different. And I've been trained in these communications for 30 years, and I got some stories to talk about with that, about going back to my college experience and some of the professors I've had. So I say things a certain way. But you know what, John? In all of it, when people read stuff that they're wanting to throw me an institution over, I have fun doing it. I'm going to entertain myself a little bit. If I have to deal with your nonsense of not responding to communications, and I say some things that I'm sure people will have reactions to. But then, if I got to do that to wake people up, because otherwise people are just looking at computer screens, and that's another thing. You can't fully digest information on computer screens. So this gets real complicated, man.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, and that's why I decided I just got to keep on going with it.
Another question here. Was there ever a warrant produced? Did you ever see the actual warrant?
Well, yeah, here was you heard the little discourse, and this, I will tell this, because I did talk to the American Free Press about this guy. After they put the cuffs on and injured my wrist a little bit, I walked out voluntarily. There was no dragging, no fighting, no resisting. They didn't need to assist me. They probably held on. I don't even know when the cuff thing really happened. I think it was when I was standing here on the way out. He just kind of yanked it a little bit to get it on. And I didn't even say anything about it. But I got to the back of the ambulance because I'm like, guys, you can't do this, man. This is wrong. You guys have to know this is wrong. You cannot take me without paperwork. You just came into my house, guys. I said, I'm a human being. I said, it's something left because in my first two 302s, up to the 604 level, I just was completely passive and peaceful and compliant and didn't even ask for paperwork because I knew it wasn't going to get me anywhere anyway, so I figured I'd get it down the road. And I climbed in the ambulance and I went in with a smile on my face, thanked them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But this time I said, God, because I had outlined this stuff to the chief of police. I sent a letter a couple of weeks ago, really getting into a lot of these details. And I said, guys, at some level, man, I've been through a lot here, and I'm a human being, and I got to insist on some basic recognition of my life because I have been freaking trapped.
Oh, man.
And I got to the back of the ambulance, and they're like leading me backwards and pulling me by the arms with the handcuffs, and my leg braced against the bottom of the ambulance, and I said, no. I said, you guys are not doing this to me. If you get they're saying, well, we got in the car, we got in the car. And I said, well, go get it. It's your car's right freaking there. And they just go get it. And, I braced my legs against the back of it, and I said, here, guys, and this is it, man. You are going to have to yank me in here to get me in there. If you do, I am not going to fight. I'll lay down and then submit. But I am not getting up on this thing voluntarily. And the guy said, all right, I'll go get the paperwork. I mean, I had to go to that level.
Peaceful resistance the entire way through.
I said, I have a right here. So he went down and he pulled, the thing was in the works. It wasn't complete. It wasn't proper. It could have been challenged. But I just wanted to see someone hold a piece of paper that, validated or gave something, for me to submit to. Because I couldn't just submit to just such an abuse like that. And, so he showed it and, it wasn't complete. It was not a valid warrant because they were going to do it at some point that day, whether I was on Facebook Live or not. But when I did the Facebook Live, they expedited it and then they went and filled in the paperwork later, and it's all all illegitimate. It's all bogus. And, it was just horrific. And then from there, I just was fully compliant with everything, except them trying to, give me pharmaceuticals and sit there and tell me things. I'm 52 years old with a record of millions of words and tried cases in federal courts, for days and days at a time. And these fucking people are fucking telling me that I'm fucking mentally ill. Fuck you and fuck you all. And that's the last indecent thing I'm going to say. But man, it just wells up sometimes.
I don't blame you one bit. I couldn't even imagine, the stress or duress of that situation. Well, moving forward, Andy, where do we go from here? Are you going to wage battle and,
Well, here's the thing. I want to come out to Center County. I want to go down to Luzerne County. Here, John. This is talking about the faith thing. We got a kids for cash thing up here that I made some comments on. Of course, I don't hear anything about that. And what I believe was an engineered case in many ways.
Yeah.
And you got to remember also that I was supposed to have a rally in Luzerne County last Friday the 22nd, the day of my hearing.
We tried, Andy. We did try to get a few people to at least hold that rally on your behalf. It was just such short notice.
Yeah, I get it. And John, it was just one of those things. I didn't really expect a lot of people, but I was going to get out there and do something myself.
Well, a lot of times. A lot of times, we don't have access or the funds, to bus in protesters and whatnot. So a lot of these grassroots things, a lot of times I show up just expecting it to be me, myself, and, whoever else shows up.
Yeah. And here we are now, though, John. We're still fighting. We're still fighting, man. Because we stuck it out with 3 and 4 people, and because you're committed to a principle and not the exposure and not the publicity and all that stuff.
Right.
Here's the thing. I mean, I'm playing the part, John. I got that grown hair out. I've been wearing the bead. Well, I don't have the bead. That's a whole other story. I've been displaying the cross. Let's give these people a choice, man. You want me? You want to institutionalize me, or do you want Conahan? Let's make a little. What was it, Barabbas? Let's have a little contest here. Who do people want to choose? Mark Civarella? Who's destroyed lives and lives and lives and cover up and conceal that and protect that, or do you want to take me out?
Right.
I'll go up there and let's have that discussion. I'm in no hurry. I just want some peace. I just want some distance from all this, and that's just kind of these thoughts go through your head, and you just kind of go with it. But I got no interest right now. I just I want to get myself a little bit back on my feet here. Right. I'm not gonna I'll come out. I'm hoping to get out at any time. I got no impediment to talking and traveling, and other than what could possibly happen. But I'm on board for any assistance, support, interviews, anything.
Right. Well, you're welcome in Center County anytime. I know that. They'll welcome you in open arms, so.
Okay. Well, why don't we do this, man? Because I think we're at a decent point to wrap up. I think there's enough information for now. And, people can go back and take a look at the video. And, just give me a little time. I'll give you a call in a little bit. We'll touch base, and talk about where we're going to go, okay?
All right, sounds good, sir.
All right, John. Hey, John, thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Andy. And
just to reiterate for the people that have joined and might be listening that weren't here, there was life-saving work that went on social media and Facebook, So I made some points, and you guys all validated a lot of points of the power of the people and all this. God bless you. God love you, man. Let's just keep it going. There's a lot of good work to do here, okay?
All right.
Okay. All right, man.
Thank you, Andy. That was Andy Ostrowski, and over the phone there, his computer's been taken. He doesn't have the means to live stream, so he asked me late last night if we could set this up, and hopefully it worked out. Audio was all right. You guys were able to hear it. When you don't know the name of the perp. I do believe we'll be planning for another live stream at some point this weekend, just to hopefully get the message of his well-being out to more people. I am going to add a little bit on my own regard to this, and that is to the Church of Scientology. If any of your supporters, proponents, or members are listening, don't fuck with Andy. You don't fuck with Andy. Because I'm going to level with you. Scientology was the very first on-the-ground enemy of Anonymous. And we got no problem going to war with Scientology again. So to all the Scientologists that may or may not be involved, let this one fucking go. Unless you want to knock down, drag out fucking battle with a whole group of people, not Andy, let this one fucking go. Don't go labeling him a suppressive person or any blowback to the family. If Scientology is involved, y'all better back the fuck off. And that's the only bit I'd like to add, you know. Andy respectfully didn't want to get into it too much, given some of the family ties, but that's my piece. Opchanology, bitches. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope everyone has a nice weekend.